Hey, it's Drybear. The update today for the First Descendant added in a whole bunch of new Void Shard values, so we're going to update our previous best locations to farm each of the Void Shards based on element, so we're current and up to date with the new style of game. Before we dive in, let's look at the actual changes to the map. A couple really cool things went in. Firstly, you can see at a glance the element that a Void Fragment actually is. You can see this one is non-attribute. You can see that from a distance. This one is chill. You can actually see the element itself on the icon overall. They also updated the Void Fusion Reactors to include a number for how much you currently have, and if you have the amorphous material. So on the tooltip for the Void Reactor, if you look directly on it, the left side number is how many Void Shards you currently own, and the right side number is how many you need. So you can see here, I don't have enough polymer Void Shards to do this Void Reactor, and I also have the material available for the linked amorphous that we need for it, which makes this farming so much easier. But they also went through and updated a lot of the values for the amount of Void Shards farmed from these locations. So let's go through the updated list on the best locations to farm for each individual Void Shard. So these are all the updated best locations for each element and for each area for the Void Fragments as well. I'll have a link to this one sheet down below in the comments and also in the description, so you can use this for reference. This is showing where the highest values for each of these. And you can see before we had a maximum of like 13 or 14 in some locations. Now we have 20 as a max in some of these locations. And overall, the total number of Void Shards that got added to the map, I counted today, it used to be 515, then it became 717. So 202 more Void Shards were added to the map in total across all areas and regions, so you get a lot more Void Shards in total. This came up a lot in the first video as well, but look at the top left corner of the screen. Note that these are the hard mode values. I highly recommend not doing any end game farming until you finish the campaign, but a lot of people that were like, 2 hours into the game, they wanted to farm their favorite character and they needed Void Shards to do it. They were kind of just going and doing it. These values are about a third or a half of their value number on screen on normal mode. So if you haven't completed the campaign, it's going to be far, far less, which is why it's recommended to actually complete the campaign. But I get that some people just want to see all the cutscenes and play the story with a character that they enjoy, but they don't want to spend money. So if you want to take 3 times, 4 times as long to farm what you need to get that character, that's perfectly within your right to do so. Just know that the values you'll get for each of these is going to be cut by about a third, down to a third, or down to half, depending on where you are in the world. Also, with this update, they did not fix the toxic element not having a monomer shard farm at all, and they also did fix the value across the board for non-attribute. So if you look at the very bottom here, non-attribute used to be you could get 4 of one of these shards and then 3 of the rest of them in different locations. It is now 3 in all locations. So for non-attribute, it's basically wherever you want to farm, you're always going to get 3 of each, all 4 of them. So I just put 4 different locations here, so if you wanted to mix around and try different options for you, if you're using non-attribute, then that's going to be there. But just keep in mind that you will get a lot more targeted farm for each of the different shards if you use the correct element. So electric actually has 2 different locations that they can farm. Ogna Desert Vermilion Waste gives 20 organic, and Mining Site in Ogna Desert gives 20 monomers. So you can switch between those to get there. Fire has 19 at White Knight Hatchery. Polymer has at Vespers. Lost Supply Depot Fire is 19. You also get a 20 for chill in Fortress Defense Line. Some of these you can get, like some of these are 20. There's like 19 versions as well if you wanted a different location and all of those. There are like maybe 1 or 2 other options for each if you really didn't like a location. Like maybe you don't want enemies spawning behind you because you don't want to think about looking in all directions, or maybe you don't like the pacing of one of these locations, but these are going to be the maximum values that you can get for each of the Void Shards all over the map. It is also worth mentioning that it does seem like they want us to go into a paradigm of farming an area in rotation. So they are actually kind of pushing us towards this right now. Keep in mind that the Void Fragment nearby will drop the requirements you need in order to complete the Void Fusion Reactor that's right next to it, and the Void Fusion Reactor that has its actual amorphous material will have its amorphous material drop at the nearby outpost. So I think what they want us to do, and my chat's been pushing me on this as well, but they want you to basically just go in rotation. Do the outpost, do do the void fragment, do the void fusion reactor, do the outpost by the time hopefully it's back up without you cheating and relogging and reloading, and you can bounce back and do those in rotation. Keep in mind that they also said today in the patch that they are making it so you can't do any cheese strats on the void fusion reactors anymore. They are saying that it's intended that they want everyone who's participating in the void fusion reactor to have their void shards removed. There was some situations before the patch today where you could not spend void shards and still get the result from the boss dropping the materials if you're trying to farm that. That's no longer the case. In general, they're trying to get people to always spend void shards here, and they even got rid of an exploit trick where you could abort mission right as the elite was dying, so it wouldn't take your void shards, but it would still give you the loot at the end, and you could rotate between people. So I think they are really trying to push this open world idea where we stay in an area and we rotate between the different facilities. And of course, there are still those little locations in each map. So if you didn't know, inside of the zone where you're at, there are these here, which are these little towers, and these interact with the outpost nearby. So you can actually mess with it. The infiltration time has been increased and the tower has been neutralized. So this like helps deal with these outposts here as a different option. So I do think they want us to zoom around the map, do all the things, come back and do every little part of it and be in the open world aspect of the game. I know not everyone's on board with that. I personally don't like waiting for outposts because I think they take too long, but that is going to be part of the rotation. But there you go. That's the updated chart for the game. Has all the locations for the best void shard farm. And of course, I think in general, it's probably worth mentioning. I do have, I still have my sheet, my little like sheet. I'll leave a link to it down below. And I kept the old tab for when I counted all of the void shards prior, so you can see what it used to be on the old tab, and then I have the new tab that shows the total. The totals went up from like 15 to 23 in a lot of cases, and they're also a lot more even as well, so you can see the sum total here on the side. So I'll leave a link to this spreadsheet if you wanted to check this out, and I have the old values just there. I'll leave them there for a little while to see if they're valuable or interesting for some people, and then probably delete it once we get further along as we move forward. And also keep in mind that they plan to, they said they're going to plan to make adjustments to the gameplay loop of getting shards in the next update in 2 weeks on August 1st, so we'll see how that goes. But let me know what you think about the new void shard changes and all the patch changes down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.